And welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Football Smack Talk Show. I am your host, Ryan.
I'm Eric.
Welcome, everybody. Not exactly the episode we all were hoping for as the Eagles end their season in typical fashion, I guess, if you call it that, and lose to the San Francisco 49ers and just couldn't keep up offensively. So the season's over. Um, they are making their plans already for the off season, but so far, since the end of the season and the beginning of this show, we've already had a demotion. We've already had a move. Kevin Batullo out as an offensive coordinator, technically still employed by the team, but I really can't see him wanting to stay. Uh,
Yeah, if I were him, I don't see how that's a winning situation for him.
no. So we will have a new offensive coordinator. There have already been a bevy of names rumored, so we'll get into that in a little bit. But I figure, perhaps we'll talk a little bit about the game and then kind of move on since there's really not a lot to discuss. But I will say the one really cool thing that happened is the first interception by Quinion
Yeah.
chucks the ball up into the stands about 3 rows in front of me.
Oh well.
And there was a scrum and a scruffle, and everybody was, whatever. And, so it's about 5 rows in front of me, bounces back, and multiple people grab it, and then just
Yeah.
bodies just come towards me. So I jump in.
Sure.
And the one guy that's been in our section for forever has a clear grip on the ball,
Sure.
and some rando that I don't know and have never seen in my life is trying to claw in there. So I'm grabbing that guy, grabbing him off, and eventually, after probably three or 4 minutes, finally get the ball. That guy gets it.
Nice.
That was awesome. He basically passed it around to everybody. He was like, "Take pictures."
That's
So
pretty cool.
I have a
Yeah.
nice picture of me holding the ball.
Nice.
And I got to tell you, those balls are hard as a rock.
Yeah.
I
Definitely not Tom Brady footballs.
definitely not Tom Brady footballs. I don't know. I mean, I get that it was a little cold, but my God,
Sure.
those things are overinflated.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody's catching those balls. So I have a lot more respect for the wide receivers uh, and the quarterbacks, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the one kind of cool thing that happened. Outside of that, the defense, played their hearts out, did what they
Sure.
could. They held a team to 23 points that, has put up 40 plus, on many a good defense. So
Yeah. And look, when you hold a team like the San Francisco 49ers, who were as beat up as they were on defense, to 23 points, you should win that game.
yeah, and unfortunately, our team offensively just couldn't get out of its own way. Um, yeah, and,
It was
again,
kind of a microcosm of the whole year.
well, exactly, and again, it sucks that this
Yeah.
is how it had to happen, but it's clear that this team needs an adult as an offensive coordinator, somebody with experience, somebody
Yeah.
with a little bit of creativity. It just seemed like there was a lot of rinse and repeat, a lot of hitch routes. I mean, the last play, looked like it was, 4 verticals. Uh, you
Yeah.
which again they were showing quarters defense, and that's the one play you don't want to throw at quarters.
Yeah.
Yet they still did it anyway. So you got to wonder, one, how much were they allowing Jalen to change things? If they were, why didn't he see it?
Right.
And why would Patullo, even with the timeout, they got up to the line with like 4 seconds. So even if that was the case, maybe
Yeah, what was he changing
Jalen
to
probably
in
couldn't have
four
changed
seconds?
anything
Yeah,
significantly anyway. So
yeah.
yeah, it was unfortunate. And again, this to say that this was all Petula's fault, certainly not. Uh,
No, no, it certainly wasn't.
players didn't play up to their potential. Offensive line was banged up. Pretty much everybody was.
Look, offensive line was banged up. AJ Brown has got to catch a couple of those passes. Devontae Smith had to catch that pass. I know it was a high throw and he was about to get leveled. He didn't see that guy coming. He's got to be able to catch that. I'm like he just needs to. And Jake Elliott's got to be able to hit an extra point. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Jake Elliott, yeah, not great because again he hits those extra points. We're kicking a field goal, we're tying
to
it,
tie the
and
game, yeah,
right. So yeah, it's unfortunate that it had to come down to that,
right.
but it kind of is what it was. It is what it is. But listen, there weren't terrible. It wasn't all terrible. You
Wow,
saw throughout the year, um, the progression of Q and Coop, who ended up being all pros.
sure.
Um, the defense, while still very young, had to make a lot of changes.
But
Um,
they grew up real quick.
they grew
A
up,
lot of those guys grew up
yeah,
real quick. Yeah,
absolutely. So, there's hope for the
sure.
defense. There's
Mhm.
hope for the offense with an actual play caller that they have enough talent to get right back on that horse. Back in 2024. So,
Now,
or
are you of the mindset that do you think AJ Brown's gone?
no,
I
I
don't even.
think they would be dumb as shit to do that personally.
I do too. I agree with you. Like people were saying to me, oh, they're gonna move AJ Brown. He wants to go to the Patriots. I'm like, well, like my dad used to tell me all the time, one hand crap in the other. See which one gets filled first. Like I don't know what to tell you, man. You're under contract to be an Eagle. Unless there is a move that really behooves the Eagles to move on from
Right.
AJ
Yeah. I mean,
Brown,
obviously, if
it ain't
somebody,
gonna happen.
right, if somebody's going to overpay,
Sure.
but I think in the long run, you're in a window,
Yeah.
and you should probably, you know,
I think if you get an offensive coordinator, give the guy a couple days to cool off, get everybody in, and just be like, "Hey, you know what, guy? Like you and Jalen are still boys. Like we've got a real offensive coordinator. We have a chance to go out and go. Like,
but
do you really
that's
want to
the thing.
go, or do you want to be part of a winning team? Like,
I feel like obviously Nick's fingerprints are all over the offense, but when
sure,
you bring in a coordinator, you blend what that guy does, you blend with what
hmm
the quarterback and your players can do, and then you let them do it. Like, unfortunately, Nick kind of had to get involved there at the end. But we got a chat here from Larry. Um, I'm going to bring something to your guys' attention during that last play. Nick stepped over, and it looked like Kevin made a call that Nick looked at Hurts and asked Hurts, shrunk his shoulders as they did it. Those guys had no idea, and Nick asked Jalen if he even wanted to do it. That summed up the season. A bunch of guys with no idea and not on the same page. Um, yeah, obviously,
a lot to unpack in that. But yeah, I don't
I don't
look.
disagree that there
You know,
was some confusion, and I think again, I think the fact of the matter is that there was a lot of pressure on them, given how poorly they've been playing offensively. And,
sure.
you know, it's funny because, you see certain things that work for them and then they just don't go back to it. And, it's frustrating because, again, that's certainly scheme. That's
Well, I
certainly,
mean, that's something that's been the Eagles for as long as we've been
uh,
fans, really.
yeah, I mean, listen, you're not technically wrong on that, but you've had some games where the run game was starting to
To click, yeah.
click a little bit,
Hmm.
and then you just go away from it, or you you have a half of football where you don't even complete a pass,
and that just can't be allowed.
yeah,
Like, I mean,
exactly. And I think again, with this, honestly, as much as we obviously all want the Eagles to win, and I would never hope for anything other,
sure.
but the silver lining in the fact that they are now out of the playoffs now is that they have their share of everybody available. Nobody's
And
hired a head coach.
right.
All coordinators and whatnot are available for the
Hmm.
picking. So if they want to go out
And you
and
got to believe the Eagles' offensive coordinator job would be a coveted
highly
spot.
coveted spot, exactly. Look at all the talent. Again, how do you not to the potential to unlock Hurts even further?
Well, and when you look at, like, okay, so like two of our last three offensive coordinators have had to be let go, but the other two of the last four have become head coaches.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, and I said this on Birds of the Round Table, is that the ideal candidate for me is obviously an adult in the room, somebody who's done it
Hmm.
before, has had success, and again, if we're just going dream scenario, somebody like Vic Fangio, who has zero aspirations to become a head coach.
I just don't know if there's a guy like that
I
on
don't
the
know if
opposite
there
side that
is, but
exists.
I
Yeah.
think there are some that certainly might not um, be up for a head coaching job. That like I think a Munkin, Baltimore's
Mhm.
OC. I think he might be a guy like that. Where like I think he's older. It's past that point of like maybe just stepping into the front of the line there for the
Right.
head coach. You also have somebody like excuse me, Brian Dayball, who
Has
I think
just been a head coach. Probably doesn't.
the
Yeah.
sour taste of the Giants is still lingering all over him. And maybe he's able to stay a couple of years. And obviously, there's that Jalen connection, as Dayball and Jalen were at Alabama, and technically Nick and Dayball were on the same staff in Kansas City back in the day, where
Yeah.
Dayball was the OC and Sirianni was positional coach. So, so yeah, there are certainly candidates that I mean, hell, at this point, kind of you've done it before. You call plays and you
Come
were
on in.
successful. Come on down, let's go.
Yeah. Let's at least talk to you.
It's
Yeah.
like it's like my dating profile. Huh? You breathing? All right.
There we go. All right.
Larry chiming in again. I had to be honest about it. Cam couldn't hold up all season, and Landon should have never been medically cleared to play football this year. They've both been hurt since last year, swapping playing center. Yeah, listen, I think that is a huge portion of a reason why
Sure.
the
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 injuries on that offensive
line
line. Yeah.
play has been down considerably. We've certainly talked it on this show and many other shows on this network. I mean, Cam being an all a Pro Bowler is an absolute joke. Um,
Yeah. That's reputation alone. I mean, that's.
and that's the thing. Like, what reputation
And
really
yeah, I was gonna
is
say he had one good season, right?
right? Yeah, I think the two of them, having played a lot of football these last couple of years.
Yeah.
I think
And
last
let's
year
be honest, not a lot at 100%.
no. So hopefully they use these extra couple of months to rest, get back into a good healthy position because they absolutely need it. You're right. I mean, those two were I personally think Mailata was probably dealing with maybe something a little
I
bit
do
nagging.
too.
Certainly
Yeah.
doesn't help that Landon and Cam right next to you. Maybe you're having to kind of cover a little bit. And
Sure.
honestly, I think Steen was probably your best offensive lineman
That's
because Lane
crazy.
Johnson was
Yeah.
out for half the year and everybody else was, either injured or doing pretty crappy. And
Hmm.
and Steen, no offense, wasn't the greatest, but again was consistent and wasn't killing you.
Yeah. Honestly, he was probably the most consistent face on that offensive line.
But then it goes to the question of moving on this offseason is All right. Well, hopefully health is
Sure.
in the future, but you would hope that Lane comes back. Does want to end on this sour of a note,
Sure.
and but I think we've been, Eagles fans have been wanting it for the past 5 years, but now's the time to get your guy. Like
Yeah.
you cannot again. Lane has always said he'll play out his contract. Well, next year is his final year. So get your guy now. Give him a year under Lane.
Yeah, I agree. I'd hate to have a situation where next year you go in needing an offensive tackle as opposed to right now just wanting one.
Yeah, and listen, I get it. There are plenty of needs that are going to be on this team.
Sure.
You have a lot of free agents, and we won't get into that this week. Perhaps
Yeah,
next week.
I don't think this is the episode for
No,
that. But
perhaps next
yeah.
week we'll do a little stay or go,
Yeah.
as we usually do. But yeah, you have a lot of free agents. You theoretically have zero tight ends right now.
Yeah. Goddard's a free agent. Calcaterra's a free agent.
Branson, free agent.
Branson. Yeah.
No real tight ends on the roster. So
I
you need to
mean,
figure out that. You need to
you
figure
could
out.
technically look at that and say this is an opportunity. You could clean out the tight end room if you want.
Yeah, but how are you going to do that, right?
Yep.
Obviously, I trust in Howie, but
Sure.
you trade for Jalen Phillips, and now he's free agent, and
Yep.
Jordan Davis, and you got to figure out him, and Nakobe Dean, whether or not it's worth it to bring him back, and Reed Blankenship. So every level there's somebody. Jahan Dotson.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of names that you're going to have to figure out, and through free agency, through the draft, you know, you're going to have to, pick your spots. But will they have the luxury of drafting a right tackle early? That I think is the
Who
question.
knows? Yeah.
Because in theory, if you're doing that, you have a guy that's going to sit for a year.
Yep. And I'm just asking because I know you pay a lot more attention to this. You have another show on this network where you talk about draft picks and so. Is there a guy at 23, just again real
Oh,
early,
oh,
that
sure.
you
Oh,
look at and
absolutely.
say,
There's
"Ooh,
a
offensive
ton.
tackle"? Is there a ton there that you'd
Yeah,
say,
that I
"Yeah,
like anyway.
hmm
Offensive tackle. Um, I gotta be honest. I'd have to do a little bit more specific research on
sure,
right
sure,
tackles because certainly I would prefer that. And there are certainly some guys that are top 15 guys that could slip,
hmm
or Howie could make the move to jump up.
right,
Um, so yeah, there's definitely there's a couple of guys in the second round that I wouldn't mind if you go another route in the first. And that's going to be a main focus certainly
yeah."
for me is finding that next right tackle. Um, moving forward. I'm always focusing on tight ends. I think that'll be certainly a big year for tight ends, and,
Oh, we just
and in
talked
fact,
about no tight ends on the
uh,
roster right now. Yeah.
and in fact, we're actually everybody on the Eagles Pinball Network. We've all of the draft guys. We've been talking all day about
hmm
how we're gonna kind of bring stuff to you guys. So coming soon, we're gonna be really honing in on draft prospects and talking rankings and mock drafts and doing player profiles. So
So
um,
when exactly? So let's just give everybody, I guess, a little timeline. The combine. When does that start?
the combine is what? That's February.
It's the end of the month, I think. So was that
Yeah,
the 27th, 28th, something like that?
yeah. It starts 23rd.
Okay. Okay.
February 23rd to March 2nd. Yeah, I knew it was late too, but
Right.
so certainly there's that, and then the draft is what April 23rd. I think is the official
Yeah.
date. I haven't looked at like an actual calendar, so forgive me if I'm not getting exact dates right, but
Whatever that Thursday is, the last Thursday in April.
yeah, well, yeah, basically,
Yeah.
that's correct. So, and you also have free agents,
hmm
that happens prior. So,
Sure.
you know that always shapes the draft, which is it's funny. There's always been that age old question of what should be first. Some leagues do draft first and then free agency.
Like
Some
the NBA, yeah, they
yeah,
do that.
so
Yeah,
it's kind of funny that But anyway,
I know
uh,
we've talked about that before. You think as well that the draft should happen first, right?
yeah, I agree. You
Yeah,
you build your team around on the
that's what I
draft.
hear. Is you build your team around the draft. Well,
You
then you
fill
should have
in
that
free
first.
agency, right?
Yeah,
So why not have that first?
yeah.
So anyway, Larry, appreciate you, buddy. Keep coming with the comments. What happens to Stout? We praise Stout for being the glue master. Seen him work with Les, and it's going to hurt me to see CJ go to another Super Bowl. Go to another Super Bowl. And Reed and Dean are gone. Dallas as well. Um,
Well, nobody's gone yet,
well,
guys. So.
one, yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you just put the Bears in the Super Bowl, which is ridiculous.
I don't
Uh,
think the Bears are winning this weekend.
I don't think they are either.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, listen, um, you know, to address your first thing, yeah, Stout was kind of on a high pedestal. Could do no wrong, and again, I don't. I think again it is more or less of just the injuries. I mean, there's nothing
Yeah, that's
painful
not
about
on
that.
Stout. Like,
But and again, it's the pride in those players to want to be out there. Um, so yeah, I don't necessarily put much stock in that. This is all Stout's fault.
no.
Could he have probably handled a better rotation? Sure. Could he have, maybe gotten in guys' faces and be like, "Yo, you need to sit the f out"? Yeah, maybe. But we don't know those conversations. We don't know how critical
Yeah,
the
I
injuries
always
are. We
hesitate to
don't.
say any of that stuff because
Well,
I've
yeah,
never been in an NFL locker room,
right.
so I don't like
So
to question
yeah,
those
so I
things.
don't I don't necessarily put a lot of weight on blame on Stout.
Yeah,
And as far as I don't know what their priorities are right now. I would like them to bring back Reed, sure.
sure.
Dean, I'll say Dean is more likely of the three you mentioned, more likely gone. Just because of, again, they spent high capital on Campbell, and with the injury history, I'd certainly love it to bring him back on the cheap, but I just don't see that happening. And I don't necessarily think that Dallas is gone either. I could easily see them drafting their next guy, bring back Dallas on another, 1 or 2 year deal,
Right.
um, and see where that goes. So, still a lot of time before we're even having those conversations, much less, making major decisions. So, um, yeah, you have to replace Lane, and Lane will not be finishing a full season going forward. He's got a Liz Frank, and he's 36. It's time for his replacement. Mulatto was a disappointment. I expected better. Yeah, no, I certainly expected
I'll
better.
agree with you on Mailata. He was a disappointment
And,
this year. But
and I don't know, dude.
I also think that he was battling some injuries and
Yeah,
dealing with
I kind of
the
feel
guys
that.
around him. Yeah.
But yeah, listen, I agree that this should be Lane's last year. I don't necessarily
Yeah.
am already going to make him injured for next year. I
Yeah.
do get that Liz Frank is certainly a major injury, but
Big tough.
also
Yeah.
have you seen Lane Johnson? He literally just looks like a tank,
Yeah.
like a built.
It is a tank in human form.
Yeah,
Like,
he is. I've never seen a dude that big just look just but not like overly like he looks big, but like
right.
like a tight big. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. So I'm not gonna certainly give him an injury already next year. I
No.
know that he trains very hard and with his recovery. So, but yes, long story short, yes, this you would think this would be his last year. So I agree that we got.
If not, then he's a wonder to modern medicine.
Yeah, he's allowed to do whatever he wants. Honestly, he's the greatest right
Yeah,
tackle probably in NFL history.
I would think. Yeah.
I'm just saying I've seen Stout produced with injuries before. That's where he's made his name, where he coached guys with lesser of talent and blah blah. Yeah, I mean, listen, I got it. And listen, I think when you actually look at it, you know you're you're looking at Fred Johnson, who came in and I thought played pretty darn well.
I
Glad,
thought Brad
glad that we
Johnson
had
played
him.
very well. Yeah.
I thought Toth, when Toth was knowing he was going to be the starter, I thought Toth did a great job.
Yeah.
It's that, oh hey, by the way, you got to go in right now. That's when, like, again, I think it
We talked about it on the
hard
show.
hard
Certain
to do that
guys
just
seem to
because you
have that mindset and that
yeah.
ability to.
There's some people have it, some
Yeah.
people don't, and
Hmm.
and whatever. But I think when you give him Toth some time and you say, hey, you're going to be starting this week, he's like, bet, got it, and he does well. He does
Yeah.
well enough. And so I think when you're
And look,
looking
he's
at
a
Stout,
backup. You don't want him to be out there every
well,
week
you're right.
starting. He'll
But,
get
but when you're
exposed.
looking at Stout and
Yeah.
his ability to coach up those
Yeah.
backups, I thought he did actually a really good job. It's
Yeah.
the
I would
fact
agree
that
with that.
the starters were playing through the injuries that is the reason why the offensive line didn't perform as well.
Yeah.
Um, and again, like I said, how many times did Cam just get blown through by? And luckily, Saquon Barkley was able to make him, the miss half the time, but
Yeah.
most of the time he was getting blown up because Cam got blown up. So, again, I get that there's an easy line to draw to Stout. I just don't think it's that straight. That's all.
Yeah. I would agree with you. I think, like, look, they had a. It was a bad year. Like, in a bad year where they still won a division championship, won 11 games, and
That's what I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. And I was listening to one of the radio stations, and you know, um, yeah, somebody called in was like, a down year is us at 11-6 and winning a division.
yeah.
You know how many teams would pray for that as their good year,
Yeah,
much less
you
their
think the
down year?
Cowboys wouldn't sign up for that right now?
Right, and so then they were, obviously they went overboard and, were calling the guy a moron.
Of
And
course,
yeah,
because if he doesn't agree with the sky is falling and fire everybody,
well, right,
yeah.
exactly. And it's like, I get it that expectations are higher. We're coming off of
Hmm.
a Super Bowl, but do we can also count the amount of repeat champions on our hands.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen often. It's very hard to do. And we can, especially nowadays, you're literally playing an extra couple of months. There's
Hmm.
wear and tear on your body like that. You have less time before the start of training camp. Clearly,
Which,
we
by the way, was a
still,
big part of why the starters said they preferred the week off the last week of the season and did not play against Washington
right.
than to go for the 2 seed.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, so, I think there was a little bit of a debate of like, all right, do you like on one hand, people think this is the disastrous of a season, and
I
on the other
know.
hand, it's just
It
like,
wasn't a success, but it was
well, it
not a
wasn't. No, I
disaster.
mean, it wasn't a success. I don't think anybody's trying to, call it like
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
but to be so hyperbolic about it and just be like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. Oh my Lord, like, listen, it sucked. It wasn't what we wanted. Things
Yeah.
happened, but guess what? Things happen for a reason. Had we won that game in San Francisco, maybe that was enough for Petula to keep his job.
I'm glad you brought that up because
Maybe, oh,
that's a
hey, you got a
question I've
playoff
asked a number
win.
of people.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, blah 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 blah. All right, cool. All right, Kevin Petula. Yeah, you got yourself another year.
We made it to the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, maybe
What?
they could have beaten the Bears and made it even further and
Yeah,
cemented his
made it
job even
NFC
further.
title game. Who knows? Like,
Right. So again, things do happen for a reason.
yeah.
And again, I think if you sign me up for every other year going to a Super Bowl and the years in between still winning a division or and
Or
making it
making the
to
playoffs.
and making the
Yeah.
playoffs, I think every Eagles fan would sign up for that.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
good.
that we are literally in the greatest era
Look, you said
of
it before.
Eagles
These
football.
are the good old days. Like people don't realize them until they're over. These
Right.
are the good old days for
Eric,
Eagles
Eric,
football.
you and I have been fans for 40 plus years.
Hey, I've got a shirt here that I just got.
Yeah,
I
that's
survived
right.
the Rich Kotite era.
We have been going to games for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
And in that time we have seen some pretty bad stuff.
Yes.
We
Yes, we
also
have.
seen some good things.
Sure.
And
Sure.
granted, obviously we weren't really alive during the run to the Super Bowl against the Raiders, obviously.
Right. In 1980. Yeah.
Right, right, right.
I was because I'm 100 years old,
You
but
are,
I
yeah,
was alive. I was not
alive,
conscious
right?
of
But
it.
you
Yeah.
weren't a part of it. And what they did the early '60s and then the
Right.
'40s. I
That I
know
was
there
not
are
alive
people,
for.
right? I know there are people that were, and that's great. But when you look at when did Sirianni get here? 2001,
21.
right?
Yeah.
Since 21, so 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, right? 5 seasons he's
Hmm.
been here, right? His worst
Made the
season,
playoffs all 5 years, won 3 division championships,
10 wins
go-
was his worst.
gone to
He
2 Super Bowls and won one. I
Yeah,
mean,
for a 5 year period, would you or would you not say this is one of the best eras of Eagle football?
I would say this is the best era of Eagles football. Over a 5 year period to have those kind of numbers, absolutely, like hands
Right.
down.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, and especially as you're talking in the modern era, and I'm sure there was,
Sure.
back in the late '40s when they won the championships, and I'm sure there was a great run there then as well.
Absolutely. And I'm sure it was
Super Bowl
fantastic.
era
Yeah.
wise,
Mhm.
yes. Um, but you talk to certain people, and we know one of them. Uh, you
Mhm.
you talk to them, and they act like we're the Cleveland Browns.
I know.
And it's oh my God, what are we gonna do? Oh,
Which
this
God bless you.
is the
How did
worst.
he survive that ride home?
I'll tell you about it.
Yeah, tell me about it up there.
But yeah, so again, I just I again I skew to the more think positively
Yeah,
about.
I try to be that way too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just,
sometimes I don't
oh,
always, but
sure, yeah, you
I
sometimes.
tried. I try to be more positive. I'm not as positive as you, but I'm more positive, I think, than the average fan.
And I'm not saying that this team doesn't have problems, and I'm not
Sure.
saying that this team
No,
doesn't
that's
have a
not.
lot
No,
to
that's
fix.
not. That's not what positivity is.
Right. And
Yeah.
we will discuss over the
Hmm.
next couple of weeks, free agents. We'll do a stay or go. We'll talk about, whoever might
Right.
be leaving this team, and who might be joining this team. And like I said, combine that, with the Eagles Pinpool Network draft coverage. We're gonna get a nice picture of kind of how things are, and we got a what, month and a half until free agency.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not long,
Yeah,
guys.
comes
Like.
quick. So we'll stick with us, as we'll kind of talk everything through, and everything, with everybody.
It's
Yeah,
funny.
pretty much.
Yesterday morning, at work, guy comes through my line. He's not a big time fan, but he likes the team, and he likes talking to me about it. And he talked to me about Kevin Patullo, and he goes, man. He's like, what do you think? I said, he's like, he's still at that point. He hadn't been demoted yet, and I said, yeah, he will be. He'll be let go. And I said, I would imagine by the end of the week. And he goes, really, that quick? I'm like,
Oh
that's
yeah,
how quick things go in the NFL, man.
yeah.
I
I
said, honestly,
honestly,
that's kind of slow.
yeah. I was thinking that if we hadn't heard by, let's say, today, basically our show,
Yeah,
that he was more likely going to be staying.
right.
But so thankfully not. But Yeah, but certainly make sure that you are following. Put on your notifications wherever you're watching this, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, X, wherever. Again, put on those automatic notifications so that when we go live, right about it. This network talks football, mostly Eagles football, but we do have some NFL type shows. We will be, like I said, coming to you with draft content. We're still kind of figuring out the details. Um, I would personally like to do so. Basically, our we have like two kind of major shows that would then kind of transition to more of a college, outlook. But and then I would
Yeah.
also want to do what I would call two a days, where two different videos. Each one I talk about a specific prospect for a couple of minutes. Just here's some stats from last year. Here's what they're good at. Here's what they need to improve. Here's where they should be drafted, kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, so it'll be fun, it'll exciting. I love draft time. I now's the time to start doing your mock drafts. So get on there and start mocking. And
Oh yeah. I can't wait to be watching the combines, sitting here watching guys in shorts run 40 yards, and
yeah, yeah, it's a good time. Not
we
gonna
get football on a stick again. Yeah.
lie. But anyway, yeah. So obviously, lots to figure out for the Philadelphia Eagles this offseason. Free agency starts in about a month and a half, and then towards the end of April, the draft. But stay tuned to the Eagles Pinball Network. We got many shows, and we will be talking draft prospect. We'll be talking free agencies, and the kind of the rest of the NFL. Hertz Goat, go get Sadiq. Absolutely would love to grab him. Tight end from Oregon. Would absolutely be a first rounder, top tight end in this class. Not
Yeah.
not certainly the the hype of a Brock Bowers or a Kyle Pitts. We're not
Hmm.
talking a top 10 guy, but a guy that could easily land right there in the early 20s, right for us. Um,
Hey, that
should,
sounds
should
perfect.
we should we want to go that route? Uh,
Yeah.
I personally, I'd be good with getting Goddard, signing Goddard to something cheap, and
Hmm.
doing that, um, and maybe drafting a guy later to kind of that's your room.
Yeah.
Maybe go out and trade for somebody like a Michael Mayer, Las Vegas, backing up Brock Bowers. He's still young, coming from Notre Dame. I wouldn't mind having him, but yeah, it's gonna be fun. Yeah, man. Can't wait for April either. Certainly, stay tuned to the network. Our draft coverage is coming up real soon. We're probably prepping for the next week or two, and then we'll be pumping out content constantly. Player profiles, rankings, mock drafts, stuff like that. No, we talked about it earlier. I think they'd be stupid to let go of AJ Brown. The perception of AJ Brown from the outside, fans, media, and the perception of AJ Brown inside the locker room are two completely different things.
I would agree with that as well. Yeah.
Just again, speaking with somebody who, and I'm not gonna, name names or anything, but has a bit of an inside track. They say everybody loves AJ Brown in that locker room, and they have a window. Why would they give up one of your better offensive weapons? Again, I get it, makes a lot of money, but unless somebody's going to come out blow you out of the water with an offer, I don't
Yeah,
see
which if any team's coming to the Eagles about AJ Brown, it's because they believe they can get him, for cheap, because
it.
they
Right.
think he's somehow disrupting the locker
Somehow, yeah, and
room.
he's somehow
Yeah,
available right now. Yeah, and so
yeah,
that's not
and
happening
that's not happening.
now. So, but yeah, stay tuned. Many different shows throughout this week. I will see you next Tuesday for Birds of the Roundtable. We will see you next Wednesday for Football Smack Talk Show. Yeah, we're getting up there. We're couple of shows away, but we're inching towards 400.
Yeah, wow.
I think combined
Oh
this
God,
show,
combined with the
I think
Philly
we're
Nick and
over.
Hump
We got to
show.
be over 1,000 of that. I mean, we're just doing this
Yeah, right.
for years.
How do we put up with each other for that many
I don't
episodes?
know. I still don't. I still don't know a current podcast duo that have been doing 17 straight years of podcasting together.
Yeah, I
I
can't
haven't
think of any. Yeah,
At least, certainly not in the Philadelphia sports market.
no.
So
We're the best, we're the most experienced, and we're right here for you guys.
absolutely love it. Well, that's going to do it for us. Unfortunately, we don't have better news. The Eagles lost. Season's over, but the off season now begins, and that is always a fun time as well. So stay tuned to the Eagles Pinball Network for all of your off season coverage and your draft coverage. So we will see you guys next week. Eric, you got anything to add before we pop on out of here?
Wait, I did. No, I'm good.
Oh man, ooh, that was close.
I
Thought,
know, I almost
thought
broke the
I had you
streak.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for us. Thank you all so much. Please make sure that wherever you're watching this, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, wherever, give it a like, give it a follow, give it a share, or if you're listening to this on any podcast network, Spotify, Apple, 5-star rating always goes a long way. It takes you 2 seconds. It means the world to us. So we appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Go Birds! Wasn't exactly where we want to be, but we'll get there. We got faith. So we will see you guys next time around. Go Birds! And we'll see you next time.
Happy football, everybody. Go Birds, always.
Always. Later.